Hello, welcome. I'm Claudia if you're new here, and if you're back, thank you so much for coming back. I am excited about today's video because I don't often see content like this. Usually there's a lot of hype about like a new plant and what the it plant is and what to buy, and there's not usually a lot of what goes into a lot of these plants that we get. So I thought it would be fun. I compiled a list of plants that I've previously bought, regretted, and will never or have no interest in buying again. I'll share the reasons and my experience with them. And obviously this is my opinion. Others may have a completely different opinion, but maybe hopefully this will give a little bit of insight and then also just help us pause a little bit before we buy, because I think that oftentimes, or at least I'm guilty of this, like we see a plant we love and we jump on it without like really putting that much thought into how much we're gonna actually enjoy it. I do want to say, because it's all that I can think of and see currently, I did this like gloss treatment on my hair to like remove some of the brassiness that it gets, and I feel like it's so dark. I don't hate it, but it's just, I wasn't expecting it to go dark. Apparently it's supposed to fade a little more into like a natural like ashy thing, but yeah, just wanted to point that out in case you noticed it too. Okay, in no particular order, let's get started. I have my list on my phone, and these are just, again, in no particular order, but I do feel like, or the very first one that came to mind when I was planning this video is my variegated, inner variegated Hoya mathilde. I've talked about this so many times, how instantly I regretted buying it, and for a couple of reasons. It was so expensive for a single node unrooted cutting. I want to say I paid like $120 or something for it, and I know that that's on me. I shouldn't have done that. And I know that they're probably not quite as expensive now. Maybe they are, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But I regretted it, and I will not be buying it again. I actually just finally hosted a giveaway with it over on Instagram, so it's finally out of my house. Good riddance. I feel like it just had that bad energy of like me knowing better than to spend that much on a plant. And the reason I regret buying it is mostly because it was so expensive for a single node cutting. But it's not that it's not a beautiful plant, but I just don't think that on that plant I would ever get back what I put into it. Even though they've come down in price a little bit now, I still think that it's way too expensive for such a tiny plant. I mean, Hoya mathilde has tiny little leaves. So yeah, it's way too much of an upfront investment for such a little thing in return, and it's not for me. I'm happy with my regular Hoya mathilde. I think she's beautiful, and I think I would enjoy far more a silver or like a super splashy one over the variegated. I think the variegated also, it's nothing too special on that particular variegation. It's like inner variegated. No offense, but we've seen that before, like with the princess, or I mean the Heshkeliana is so much more beautiful than the Hoya mathilde variegated. So yeah. Let's do us all a favor and our wallets and save our money and get other plants that we like more. The next plant that immediately came to mind is Filidendrin fuzzy petiole. Now this is a really beautiful plant, and I really loved it initially, and I was really excited at how quick growing it was. The fuzzy petioles are so cute. They're very beautiful, like pillowy heart-shaped leaves. But this plant was a spider mite magnet. I could never keep spider mites away from it. Eventually I just got sick of it, and I moved on from it. But I think I had it for a good 2 years, and it must have been spider mite free for maybe a week of it. Like, I tried moving it locations. It was completely isolated at one point, and it's just spider mites found it one way or another, and it just really took the joy of having it, because it didn't matter what I did, spider mites would not leave it. I tried everything, my DIY, Perfect Plantista, Azamax, the harder stuff. I tried beneficials, multiple rounds of it, and it just was always infested, and like the amount, I've never seen that many spider mites on one single plant. So that just really took the joy away from growing it and having it in my collection. And I think that there are other philodendrons that I like more with those beautiful heart-shaped leaves like my varicosum. So and the fuzzy petioles, also the varicosum has them. So yeah, no need to be met. And I do hear that the varicosum can be a spider mite magnet as well, but my experience with it thus far has been nothing like the fuzzy petiole. So yeah. Next, I have a couple of alocasias on my list, and I do feel, or I have felt for a while, that I'm kind of in my alocasia era. I really just like fell in love with them. I love growing corms. There are so many to choose from, like just they're so beautiful and stunning, and I found the trick to get them to grow and be happy with growing them in ponds. So I really, really love alocasia. Having said that, there are a couple that I've gotten that I just did not need to get and do not care to replace them ever, and some that I definitely don't want in my collection ever again. I'll start with the ones I currently have and really wish I didn't. This one might surprise you, although I think I mentioned it in a previous video, but it's my pink nobilis, or nobilis pink. The plant is beautiful. It has given me some gorgeous leaves. I'll insert a photo of what the previous gorgeous leaf looked like, but then I'll also insert a photo of what it currently looks like. So this plant it's one of those things again where I am not getting back what I put in. It was very expensive, and it's slow growing, which is fine. However, I'm in this cycle where it gives me the beautiful leaf, but then it drops it. I don't have a leaf for several weeks before it grows a new one. And I just, yeah, for that, it also like arrived, it was shipped. It doesn't like being shipped. So it actually dropped all its leaves when it first arrived. They all melted away. So it's just really finicky, and I find that, again, I'm just not getting back all that I put in. And there are other very beautiful alocasias that I would be so much happier having with a much lesser price tag. So yeah, if you're thinking about a nobilis pink, think about it a little harder, and you know, you might actually have a lot of success with it, and it might not be as finicky as maybe the experience that I'm having. I just think that for the price tag, let's pause before we jump on it. The other alocasia I currently have, and wish I didn't, is pink Yucatan princess, and for a similar reason as the philodendron fuzzy petiole. It is a spider mite magnet, and I am convinced that is a culprit that keeps bringing spider mites into my Millsbow wide cabinet. It's also, I guess I should say, I don't love it. I don't love the variegation. I don't love the color. It's not doing anything for me. So yeah, I am looking to, it's currently in treatment, and I may do another giveaway with it. I may offer it, I don't know, on Facebook or something, and see if anyone else would love it more than I am. But yeah, it's just in my, I guess if I loved it, like if I loved the color and I loved the variegation and all of that, then I would maybe put more effort into making sure that, I don't know, I might isolate it and place it in another spot so that it's not bringing all the spider mites into the whole cabinet or whatever. But because I don't, yeah, it's a combination of things. I guess ultimately I don't love it, and it's a terrible spider mite magnet, so no thanks, let's move on from you. The next two alocasias I no longer have. One of them is alocasia Melo. So I really wanted the Melo because I love the Maharani. I think the Maharani is just stunning. The Maharani is actually one of my very first alocasias, and I've actually shared a lot of, it doesn't matter. But I love the Maharani. I think she is gorgeous, and I had the black velvet, and I wanted to also have the Melo so that I could have both parent plants, and I assumed if I love the Maharani, I'm gonna love the Melo. Well, no. In my opinion, it's too similar in texture. The front of it is too similar in texture to the Maharani, and I think the Maharani has a leg up in that it has a beautiful purple backs, And then also I just found the Melo super picky and finicky. It was just never happy, and I wasn't totally motivated to like maybe try an aroid mix like I did with my Capria, because I wasn't overly impressed with it, period, I guess. I just love the Maharani so much more that there is no need to have the Melo, in my opinion. The fourth alocasia on this list is kind of two versions of it, and it's the black velvet and the pink black velvet. Okay, but I also feel like if I was gifted a beautiful pink black velvet, I wouldn't mind, but I would not replace it myself whatsoever. And I think, so they're for different reasons, I guess, both of them. The black velvet is fine, but I also find it kind of blah. I think the Ninja, the regular green Ninja, is a little bit more special than the black velvet, so I just don't find the need to have the black velvet. Now, the pink black velvet, in my experience, it went well for a minute, and then it went really downhill. It self-destructed. It's actually, I guess I kind of still have it. It's growing nothing but all white leaves, so yeah, it's not gonna sustain that way. I've chopped it already. I did try to harvest corms. Corms take forever to sprout on the pink black velvet, in my experience, at least anyway. And I like to say that I have good reference because corms for me typically sprout really quickly. I feel like I have a really good formula that just works. But the pink black velvets are super stubborn, slow growing. Even when they sprout, they'll sprout like the 1 and 2 leaves, but there's still no roots. And yeah, I would just not go, and maybe it's just the particular specimen that I got. I obviously feel like the specimen I got was very likely tissue cultured as well, so maybe that has to do with it. But in general, I mean, it seems like the variegation is not very stable. It was fast growing when I had it going for a minute, but the corms are hit or miss. In my experience, they're miss. And yeah, it's just not something that I would go out of my way to replace. I also feel like it's still very expensive for as widely available as it is. So I'd rather spend my money on something else. I'd love to know if you have one, what your experience has been with it. Again, maybe it was just my specimen. But yeah, I just think that I don't need those. Moving on to categories, and as I just did like the 4 alocasias together, I was thinking like maybe I should have done them all grouped, but we may be bouncing around to the rest of this list. The next one is a begonia cracklin rosie. So this is very pretty begonia and unusual, very different than a lot of my collection. I saw it at my local plant shop, Plantitas, one day, and I was just like, oh, this is so unique. And it was a very reasonable price point. I want to say like $12 or something for a 6-inch pot. So I got it, but that was a complete impulse buy. I found that I just was not enjoying it whatsoever. Once it was home in my space, I didn't think it was special at all. I think that there are other much more beautiful begonias out there. And again, it's just obviously my opinion, but I found that it was just a complete waste for me. It didn't do anything for me or my space or my collection. And yeah, I moved on. I think I gave it to my mom or something. I moved on from it pretty quickly when I found that I just was not enjoying it. This next one is kind of random, and it's a Dischidia Million Hearts variegated, or variegated Dischidia Million Hearts, however you say that. I got it, I actually had seen someone's on Instagram probably, and I thought it was so cute. And one day again at my local plant shop, I saw it, and it was a tiny 2-inch pot. And it was like I don't know, it was a decent price, maybe like $12 or $15. And so I bought it, but once again, when I brought it home, and it was a fast and vigorous grower. I do think it's very cute, but I just didn't think that it I didn't enjoy it. It was like, maybe if eventually it was a bigger pot and I had it trailing significantly to where it really added dimension to a space or something, I would enjoy it more. But I just felt, I had it for several years also, and it remained in its same pot. It did get to trailing several inches, but I just didn't think it was special enough. Again, a very pretty, beautiful plant, but kind of like the cracklin rosie, I didn't think that it was adding anything to my space. I wasn't really enjoying it. And yeah, no, it's not for me. These next two are Hoyas, and they're for similar reasons that they're on the list, so I'll just speak about them simultaneously. One of them is Krinkle 8, and the other one is Hoya Chelsea. And both of them, I just found that I was like in my Hoya era, you know, just I wanted all of the Hoyas and trying to collect all of them. And they did fine for me. I think my Krinkle 8, I know my Krinkle 8 eventually even bloomed, and the blooms look exactly like the Crimson Queen blooms. So I don't think I could smell anything on them. It doesn't matter. But I just didn't love it. I didn't love the foliage. I didn't think that I think all Hoya blooms are a little special, but for like, it wasn't a plant I was gonna keep for the blooms. Like, I wasn't enjoying it enough without the blooms to keep it. And then Hoya Chelsea, similar. She has kind of a little bit more special rounded leaves, and she was super easy to care for, grew nicely for me, but she's one of the ones I decluttered earlier this year with you that I just found like, and I was torn about getting rid of her because she's so easygoing and was growing well. But again, it just wasn't a plant that I was enjoying caring for. It's certainly not I don't need that kind of filler plant, I guess. And that's for both of them. So yeah, I've gotten very, very picky on what plants in general, but particularly what Hoyas I really enjoy and want to keep. And those two were just like easy, not interested in having these or replacing them. So I think that we are actually grouping them a little bit. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about philodendrons, and I have two on my list, and one of them is Philodendrin Red Anderson, and I've had two Red Andersons, and I think I bought one and one was gifted, and they're easygoing plants, but I just didn't think they were special enough. I didn't think that they were, and I had good variegation. It had the nice white, creamy with like the bright, like magenta, pink, red, particularly one of them that I can think of, but I just didn't think that they were, it's so funny because I remember specifically like wanting one so badly, and then once I had him, I was like, I don't really care for these. I don't think that they're all that at all. I eventually like moved on from them and just thought that, like, honestly, like if I was gonna have, if I could choose between a Pink Princess and a Red Anderson, I thought that the Pink Princess was a much better option, especially the specimens that I've had. So yeah, I just didn't, Red Anderson didn't do anything for me, and I don't care to ever see it again. The other philodendron is the Pink Princess. And I did mention I've had a couple of Pink Princesses, and I feel that I've been really lucky with the genetics of them. Really bright, beautiful pink. But I feel like in my experience, Pink Princess always gets to a point where they just start growing really wonky. So even if the variegation is beautiful, like the growth pattern is just, I don't like it. And then when you chop it, it starts acting up. It gives you like the itty bitty leaves before it starts growing again. Now I did have good luck with the chops and like creating the new plants. I had really good luck with that. But it was just, it was just this constant, like, I'm only gonna enjoy it up to a certain point before it starts looking really funny, and now I have to start the process all over again. So as much as I would love to have a Pink Princess philodendron with those beautiful genes that I enjoy, I didn't enjoy like this constant turnover of like, okay, once it gets to like, I don't know, 2 feet tall, I have to chop it, and then it's gonna throw a fit, and then I have to chop it again, or maybe just keep the top cutting and get rid of the other one, etc. And it just was, it took the joy of having it away, I feel. So yeah, it definitely no pink princess. And I don't have like the orange or a white knight or any of those, but I think in general, I can pass. Okay, we're on the last two and they're both Monstera, so believe it or not. And technically one of them, I may be a little bit on the fence, and I'll tell you why. So I'll start with the for sure one. The for sure is the Edensonia Elbow, and that is, I did have one and I have seen them and they are gorgeous. But my experience with the Edensonia Elbow was A, expensive, and B, it reverted to completely variegated. I tried many things and multiple times to chop and prop and try to bring some green back, and I was unsuccessful with it. So yeah, I never had a plant that I could enjoy with it because it was always an issue with the variegation. So when variegation is just that unstable, it's just not worth it. It's so, I mean, we're just spending all this money and then it's just such a coin flip. So I think that as much as the Adansonii Elbow is really beautiful, I think that my Adansonii Mint satisfies that holy type of leaf for me, and I do enjoy it a lot. So yeah, no need in putting ourselves through that stress of what is this next leaf gonna look like. And I've heard from, I feel like everyone that has an Adansonii Elbow, they either revert to all green or they go all white. So it just, yeah. Okay, the last one on the list is my Monstera Deliciosa Ora. And I wanna say I'm on the fence of this one because we're still trialing. I have it still. We're trialing to see how it goes. I moved it into, or I did a top cutting and I moved it into pond to see if I could alleviate a lot of the browning that I was getting. But honestly, as I think about it, if I got rid of it or something happened to it, it is not a plant I would replace for a couple of reasons. A, I really don't love the aurea variegation. I picked this particular plant because it had a lot of creaminess, and I do like the creaminess, but the yellow variegation is just not my favorite at all. And also, my experience with it and all of the browning just again took the joy away from growing it. I will say this top cutting is hanging in there. It did get a little bit of initial browning when I first chopped it and moved it into pond, but it hasn't spit out a new leaf now. It hasn't done any more browning. So we'll see how it goes, but I think that, you know, I'll see how it continues to go, and then I may choose to keep it or not, but it's definitely not a plant that I would get again or look to replace whatsoever. Yeah, in general, again, the aurea variegation is not my favorite, and then combined with all of the issues with the browning, it's just no fun. I'm sure if I dug a little deeper, I could come up with a lot more plants that I regret buying or that I wouldn't buy again. But I think that this is a pretty good list of plants that, yeah, are just, for me, they're just not worth it. And actually, I've reflected on that a lot since last year and doing like these plant purges and declutterings that I've done. And I think it's really helped me this year in not being so impulsive in buying plants. In fact, like this whole, I'll try to write the date, but the only plant I've bought all summer, pretty sure, is replacing my Hoya Bella. And I don't think I've purchased very many plants this year. To be fair, I did purchase 3 very expensive alocasias like in spring, but nowhere near like last year. By this time I would have purchased already dozens of them. But what I'm trying to say is that reflecting on like all of those plants that I did at one point jump on and rush to buy, and then I ended up not loving and moving on from, or what have you, has really helped me like sit back and evaluate when I see a plant that I like or that I think I might like or want. I really try to sit with it for a while and think about how much do I really want this. I mentioned in another video that my theme has kind of just been falling in love with my collection again, and the truth is I do have a lot of very beautiful plants already, so I really am just trying to focus on making these plants the best that they can be, and then really also taking a step back and evaluating, do I really love these? Like, not just because it's a wish list plant or a highly desired plant or an expensive plant. I don't want to keep them out of guilt. Like, that's no fun. Anyway, making this list and sharing it with you was fun. I hope that it was entertaining for you. I'd love to know what some of the plants on your I wouldn't buy this again are, or like what your thoughts are on any of the plants that I mentioned. Like always, if you have any video requests, drop them down in the comments below. I truly appreciate you spending your time with me, and I will see you soon. Bye!